5 to live by. We're teaching the principles of life over the principles of death. When we came up with the concept of 5 to live by, it actually started from a conversation with Rennie Rocks and myself. And Rennie has suggested that we do some posters about the Wilmington G Code. Not propagating any negativity, but just letting people know putting out some of the, the rules or the principles that go along with street life. Because contrary to popular opinion, street, in the game, streets, whatever that comes along with that, it's not this haphazard thing where everybody does whatever they want to do and it's all good. It's never been like that, and there was a reason why it wasn't like that. I was actually in my man's barbershop, Aki Amir, and he and I were talking about how things kind of took this twist and turn and to get where they are now, and how things changed through the generations. And as we sat back and looked at it, it took us back to a period of time between 1988 and 1993 in the city of Wilmington, and there was a lot of different dynamics that came into play that brought about the situation where we're at now. And I just wanted to build a little bit on that. For those of us who are around, we know that between 1987 and 88 is when crack cocaine hit the scene, and it hit hard, all along the East Coast corridor, and it hit here in Wilmington too as well around that time. I was a young boy, 15 years old, and I saw how different brothers who might have been around, people were getting money, selling powder, and how the game just intensified with the crack. Crack cocaine had a couple different dynamics that came along with it. One is it brought this new type of high. It's more intense, this quick, high that, people that were caught in addiction really enjoyed that. Two, it brought money in amounts that a lot of people had never experienced before. I'm talking about piles of money. Dudes were coming, it wasn't just, stacking a little bit of paper in a shoebox. Dudes was getting thousands of dollars and thousands, and even going into the millions. And I remember in particular, it was one dude, mention no names, that was over in Riverside. He was an older brother, and he started back then they were calling it Ready Rock. And he literally would have lines of people around the corner waiting to come and get that product from him. That was another dynamic of crack cocaine. And it also brought a lot of traffickers, different brothers from different cities who were coming with their own culture, with their own game and things of that nature. What's happening? With their own culture and their own game, and it got, it got serious, it got heavy. Wilmington, the small city's response to that was switching from the not the judicial system, but what's the word? The sentencing guidelines. They switched from a sentencing guideline, which is called syntax, to a sentencing guideline that came in place in June of 1990, called TIS, or Truth in Sentencing. Truth in Sentencing was this real strict sentencing guideline. Sentencing was a real strict sentencing guidelines, and it called for a person a lot of mandatory time, and people were doing 85% of their level 5 time. Level 5 means prison time. So around that time, a lot of guys started, really getting hit hard with the prison terms, and getting hit with serious terms. I know in my community, where I come from, in my neighborhood, there was a lot of brothers who got hit with a lot of time and got hammered, boom, and it was going in. A lot of these dudes people was getting pulled off the streets. And also, with the crack era came, with the money, also came more violence, and things started intensifying more. So what you had was brothers who were in position on every side of town. East side, west side, north side, down to 5th Street, up on the hill, South Bridge, Newcastle, everywhere, throughout the city of Wilmington and the peripheral. A lot of the top dudes that was getting money got snatched off the street at the same time. That was significant. That was very significant. So what it did, it left a power vacuum, so to speak. And not only a power vacuum, but also a leadership vacuum in the community. Because whether we like it or not, whether we want to respect it or not, the fact of the matter is there was a lot of people who, not a lot of people, but there are people who are in the street, who are in the game, and there are opinion leaders in the community. It serves two different purposes, you know what I mean, in the game, in the criminal element, you know, it is what it is, and, you know what I mean, we could say that it's counterproductive, but I can tell you that my old heads, my folk, you know what I mean, and some of the other brothers that I know, one in particular, Rick Hoy, rest in peace, and, you know what I mean, my old head over the projects, these dudes, a lot of times, a lot of situations we got into, they stepped in and they would like really calm us down and they would squash a lot of stuff, because the reality was this, and it came down. What it came down to, it was real simple. Had somebody pulled out a gun on you, had somebody shot you, or had somebody threaten your life. If those three elements weren't in play, then we could achieve some peace with pride. And by that I mean peace is we not going to war, we not going back at each other, and pride. You still a man, you good, we still men, we good, and we kept it moving like that. When they took all these people out of here from this window, 98, 2003, 88 to 2003, it left a situation where you had a lot of young brothers who were coming up into this game, and that code was passed on, it was maybe diluted, watered down, and got skewed and twisted. 20 years later, I can remember times where we might have had a handful of killings, 5 killings in a year's time. 20 years later, we're getting 25, 30 some odd killings, you know what I mean, hundreds of shootings in this city. Saying all that to say this is that it bringing it all the way back, bringing it full circle. The same brothers who were a part of that era, that 5-year thing, that 5-year 88 to 93 situation, a lot of them are home. A lot of us are back out here in the communities. We're grown men. We living our life. What's up, bro? How you? We living our life. Thank you, brother. Same to you. We living our lives, and we grown men now. So for the grown men, it's time for us to step up and step out. Use the knowledge that we have gained to come out here and to save our young people, to save their lives. It's 5 to live by. We're teaching the principles of life over the principles of death.